Hello, welcome to Lost in Movies. I'm Alec Kerr, the film critic for the Conway Daily Sun. And this week I'm joined by my co-host...
Tranifer Lovely.
And we are going to be talking about Rango, the new animated feature from Nickelodeon Pictures, directed by Gore Verbinski, best known for the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and starring Johnny Depp as the lead character. So check out the trailer.
Welcome, amigo, to the land without end. The desert and death are the closest of friends. We sing of his courage in magnificent song, but pay close attention, he won't be here long. Don't move.
What?
Don't move!
Not moving!
Shh, not moving. Try to blend in.
What? Blend in? What do you mean?
Blend in.
Huh? But what are you saying?
Too late.
No, it's not too late. I'm blending. I'm a blender! Ah!
Hey, calm down. What are you doing? Tranquilo.
Oh. Ah!
Stop moving. Try not to look conspicuous. Oh, here she comes. You better run, Mojito.
You what? I thought you said don't move.
That was before. Now, you run. Here in the Mojave Desert, animals have had millions of years to adapt to the harsh environment. But the lizard? He's going to die.
What was that for?
You're a stranger. Strangers don't last long here.
I personally thought that it was amazing. The animation in it just blew me away. It was probably one of the best fully CG movies I've seen in a long time, if not ever. The textures were real, the characters were great. I laughed. I mean, though it was a commonly used plot of stranger comes to town, lies about its past, tries to be a hero, it was still very refreshing. It was great. I mean, they brought something new to the table, I felt, with it. I felt that the voice acting was very good. Johnny Depp did a great job, as well as the other characters. It was funny, like I said, and I just absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it too. I really appreciated the fact that it was so beautifully rendered. It was just amazingly well conceived. Just the landscapes, the character designs were really interesting. I mean, I actually described this movie to somebody, and I said, "Oh, it's an animated movie with animals in a western." And they're like, "Oh, that sounds like it would be a disaster." I'm like, "Well, they're not cute, cuddly animals. I mean, they're pretty ugly-looking animals.
Gross, some of them.
And they're like lizards and birds and possums, and they're all different. And the fact that this came from Nickelodeon Pictures, this is a huge step forward for them in terms of content and just the quality of the animation.
Definitely.
And the fact that you have Gore Verbinski, this is his first animated film. It really gave the film a very cinematic quality. I mean, in portions, you forgot it was even an animated
Exactly.
movie.
It was like picture perfect at times.
Yeah.
I mean, even with some of the characters, which is something I never feel, I would look at them and like, oh, what an ugly man or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
they would have
great.
close-ups on the characters, like close-ups on Rango, and the textures would be so real. It would look like real lizard skin.
Exactly.
It was very impressive, and everybody, the way it's been marketed, I mean, it's like from the director of Pirates of the Caribbean. Really, though, I feel this is not really like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, yes, there are some action sequences that kind of mimic the same kind of editing of Pirates of the Caribbean, but the film that this is most similar to, and it's a movie that most people forget, is The Mexican, which was Gore Verbinski's second film. And I actually think it's a pretty good film. I think it's very underrated. But that was a film that also kind of played with the Western mythology and some of the themes of Mexico, because that was obviously The Mexican, and there's definitely some Mexican stuff going on here. There's the mariachi band of owls that were they just start out the movie and like right off you get a huge laugh right from them.
Every time they pop up, I got a good chuckle.
And I do have some problems with it. I think the middle section of the film drags a little bit.
It does.
And it gets way too bogged down with the plot. And it's essentially kind of like a lift of Chinatown in a way, with this whole, there being some water conflict, and there's some evil doing with taking the water away, done by the mayor of this town, Dirt, that Rango, we don't even know his real name, do we? Because he's this, Rango is this chameleon who loses his family. He's a pet, and then gets to this town, Dirt, and he reinvents himself as this, hardened lawman, and because when he would live in his cranium, he was just this. He was trying to be an actor, and he would act with all of his little toys, like his fish, which I think the fish was a nice touch, because Nickelodeon's color scheme was always orange. So I think the fact that they threw in the orange fish was kind of a nod to the fact that it was a Nickelodeon picture.
It was definitely entertaining.
I did enjoy it, and there were even moments of kind of quiet, meditative like moments, and like there's a scene where he's crossing the highway, and it was very kind of somber, and it was kind of surprising. I'm not sure. I mean, we'll have a clip later on where I talk to people after the movie, and kids seem to enjoy it, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate for really little kids. It is rated PG, and I definitely think it's probably best for like 7 and up. I think 5-year-olds might have some trouble with it.
It could probably go over their head with a lot of the stuff, but the humor is very crude at times and kind of innuendo-y.
But it's good. I do wish it had been tightened a little bit, but for the most part, it's very good. It's not quite up to Pixar level. Pixar's kind of like the benchmark of animation right now.
But I mean, this is the first Nickelodeon movie of its type. They've had a couple of CG movies, like the Jimmy Neutron movie and whatnot, but the only animated movies for the most part are based on TV shows, which were great for their time, but I mean, I was just shocked, blown away by it. I mean, this is...
Yeah, this is definitely not SpongeBob the movie.
Exactly.
And people going in anticipating something like Jimmy Neutron or SpongeBob might be taken aback, because this is a very, very strange movie.
It is.
It's very weird.
Avant-garde.
It's almost more appropriate for adults, especially if you're into westerns. There's a lot of references to other westerns. Lots of references to other movies. There's a sequence in a canal. That definitely mimics the editing for Star Wars a little bit, and there's also like an Apocalypse Now reference thrown in that sequence. So there's definitely lots of movie references going on.